All right. And what kind of performance are you looking forward to on Friday night with Jason Jackson? A stand-up affair, wrestling? What do you see it being?
Ooh, I'm not too sure, but I just want to be, I don't know, proud of myself for going out there and giving it my all and not holding back. I've had fights before where even you win, you're still holding back a bit, and you're disappointed in yourself, and I don't want that to happen.
Well, we don't want that either. So best of luck on Friday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, our next question comes from Thomas Galdenzi. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan. Thomas Galdenzi with Combat Sports Coverage. And I was wondering, what brought you over to Bellator? Your last 2 UFC fights, you were coming off 2 UFC wins, and then now we see you in Bellator. I kind of wanted to see what brings you over here.
Mainly an opportunity. We were having some negotiations, and then my contract ran up, and it was more of like a recruitment thing, and my old man was talking with them, and just kind of all came together. And then the time that it took to do all that between then and now, and now we're here. So it was just mainly an opportunity that I jumped on.
And how are you feeling after those surgeries you just recently talked about? Plus, I was looking you up and everything, and you're only 30 years old. I forget, you're still a young guy. You have so much fights under your belt. A lot of people don't hit their prime until they're 30 years old, I would say. So how are you feeling right now at 30 heading into this big fight?
I feel great. I'm the strongest I've ever been, working back with my strength and conditioning coach that I was working with a few years ago. The strongest I've ever been, the most flexible I've ever been. Mental game, I feel strong. I feel confident. So everything's coming together, and it feels great. And I got the experience, and I'm ready to let it out there.
And Bellator announced about this fight card maybe about 2 to 3 weeks ago. But how long ago have you probably known about this fight?
This fight, I think it was. I'm not sure. I was supposed to fight Jason in May, and then all this popped off. But how long ago did we find out? I'm not even sure. A month, or maybe a month. No,
awesome, Jordan. Thank you for some of your time, and good luck on your upcoming fight.
Thank you.
All right, our next question goes to Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan, this is Matthew Putterman from MMAnews.com. My first question is, what was the toughest fight of your career?
The toughest fight of my career was when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, and I went over to Australia, and I was there for vacation. I was living with my auntie at the time. I was there for 6 months. I started training at a gym called Riker's Gym in Australia, in South Australia, Adelaide. And they had a K1 fighter there named Paul Slawinski, and some top level fighters and trainers. And I started teaching there. They're like, hey, you want a job? You want to start teaching MMA? MMA at the time in Adelaide was actually illegal. They didn't even have it in the state. You had to go out of state to fight. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll start teaching and do all that, and got a great opportunity there. And then they were like, hey, you want to go fight on the Gold Coast? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they asked me to fight this Aslan Magmedov, and he was in K1 Max. He had fought all the best guys. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll fight this guy. And he just beat the piss out of me, kicked my legs so many times I couldn't walk. Both my hands, I think, were broken. But he was super nice. He gave me some advice after. He showed me what he was doing to my leg. But that was the toughest fight of my career for sure.
What is your definition of being a prize fighter? Is it about the belt? Is it about the money? Is it being about the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? What is it to you?
To me, it's like I said before, it's about going in there and letting it all out and being proud of yourself. Because when it's all over and you have that itch and you're just like, oh, I want to get back in there, that's what it's about. It has nothing really to do with the money. The money's nice, obviously, and this is how we make a living, and this is a great opportunity for me, especially in a time like this, where we can get to compete and get to make some money. But in reality, it's about letting it all out there and being, proud of yourself at the end of the day, at the end of the night.
And my last question is for you, what motivates you more, coming off a loss or coming off of a win from a fighter's perspective? I asked all the guys before too.
Coming off a loss or coming off a win?
Yeah.
Oof. Winning, I get a lot of confidence from winning. Losses, when you fight, I've had like 50 fights, so winning and losing, it becomes you get the high of the winning, and then you get the low of the losing, and then eventually all that kind of goes away, and it's about showing up and putting in the work. It's not really about the win or the loss. Really, it's about just that deep desire to compete. Really.
That's all I got for you, my man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next question goes to Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Jordan, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. So at only 30 years old, you've had, I believe, 43 professional fights. You fought in the UFC, you fought in Strikeforce, now you're fighting on the co-main of Bellator. Do you feel like you still have anything to prove, or you're just doing this because, the love of the game and, chase the title?
I definitely have lots to prove. Yeah, new organization. I got to go out there and I got to prove something for sure. You can't just go out there and get a win. That's not enough. You can't just win. There has to be something that's impressive and big for everybody to watch.
Yep, and in this Bellator debut, you're the co-main, and it's also the first fight back for Bellator. How special is it to be on this card?
I've been so lucky my whole career getting on great cards, and this is just another proof of it. Being on the first one back, getting to have the co-main event spot. I feel like I belong there, and I can't wait to show it.
Awesome, man. Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, next question goes to Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hi, Jordan. This is Brian Peters from All Access MMA. I just had a few quick questions. So, obviously, you've spent much of your recent professional career in the UFC. How does it feel making your Bellator debut? And what is different about Bellator than the UFC?
It's got the background's got like more of a family feel to it, behind the scenes type of thing. I haven't really met Scott Coker. Even when I was with Strikeforce, I didn't really, get to know him, but I just love the way he operates and the way he does things. And to be a part of that is special, and it's fun. And I got treated great everywhere I've gone. I've been treated great. So I got no problems anywhere.
Awesome. And how do you see this fight going on Friday?
I see it going. I think it's going to be exciting and entertaining. I plan on being exciting and tactical. So we'll see what Jason brings to the table and work with it.
Do you foresee a finish?
Do I foresee a finish? I don't really foresee anything when I'm talking about fighting, because fighting is like a nonverbal thing, and now we're talking about a nonverbal thing. So it's just, I could make something up and tell you, but I wouldn't even believe it myself. So
yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your honesty, and thanks for your time.
You bet.
All right, final two questions. We'll go to the line of Ben Keeley. Your line is now live.
Hi, Jordan. I'm just wondering, how do you think the lack of a crowd will play a factor in this fight? And is that something you have prepared for?
Yeah, I don't really know how to prepare for that, but yeah, that'll be interesting. I've fought on the street before with no crowds. I fought, I've had some gym wars, you're fighting people and there's no crowds. So that's kind of a thing. But to have a professional contest with no crowd, it'll be interesting, and I'm excited. Because you can hear both corners, and I can hear them anyway. I can hear the commentators and the corners with the crowd. I could always hear that. So I'm sure it'll be even more emphasized here, and it'll be interesting.
How has the COVID-19 lockdowns affected your preparation for this fight?
It hasn't really. I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, and it's a small town, and it's nothing like here in the States. It's pretty easy going. I got into some calisthenics. I was following a guy on YouTube called Iron Wolf. He was into burpees, so I was rocking that out for a while. And then we got the team back together, started rocking it out, and we got a group of savages there, so it's been fun having everybody back.
And did you pick up any new hobbies or any new projects you're developing during the lockdown, or has it all been training?
I got into ping pong kind of hard, so that was kind of fun. Yeah, ping pong. That's where it's at for me the last little bit.
And one last one for me. How does you obviously had a very long career. You fought the who's who people. How do you think Jason Jackson stacks up against the likes that you fought in the UFC and Strikeforce?
he stacks up great against all of them. He's a great opponent. He's a worthy opponent, and he's got a great camp too, and he's well schooled with a great coach. And he's clearly he's in there with the best too. I mean, so it's going to be a good challenge.
All right, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, and our final question comes from the line of Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan. Andrew with MMAsucker.com. My question for you is, so you've been in this game since 2006 as a pro, and I'm curious to know, tell us how your training has changed and adapted since you started your first day training in MMA till now.
It's mainly the blueprint in my head of the whole game. Like, will I ever get the whole game in my head? Probably not. But the pieces to the puzzle of my own game have been coming together. And just my understanding of the science, I can show up and do the art and just show up and show up and show up. But to get better is to consciously show up and put in the work that way. So I think that's where it's gone for me, is just understanding the science a bit more and getting the bigger picture, the blueprint, and studying. I've been studying a lot more, whether it be stand-up, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever, but putting in work on that, taking notes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.